Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to Payment Asia's FinTech Week session about the power of digital. Just a kind reminder, please put your phones onto silent. I almost just got caught out. Somebody called me on my iPad a second ago, so you've got to be very careful with that. I'd like to welcome our guest, Torres.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
This is
Thanks for coming, despite the rain. Thank you so much.
So Torres Pitt, I'm sure you guys are all fans. You know him very well. He is a bona fide influencer with a combined amount of people following him on YouTube and Instagram, over 1 million people, and with some of those videos he has on YouTube having a hit rate of over 3 million. Which is amazing. So we're in really good hands here to talk about the power of digital and how to turn digital into something that can influence your business in a huge way. So yeah, what are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about how the world that we live in today is super influenced by social media and digital influencers that impact what we do every day, how we buy, how we purchase, and how we move forward in our everyday lives, right, with confidence. So Torres, I'm really happy to have you here to help us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, to help us understand what we're here to talk about. So why don't we get into it and you just tell us a bit about you, how you got started in this world.
So I started making videos. I think I like to tell people a few years, but I think it's getting a bit long now. I've been doing it for 5 years. In fact, I started doing it in 2017 as like a part-time job in university. I was studying in HKU, so I was tutoring English, tutoring maths and stuff like that. And I was like, it's not enough money. It's not enough money to fund my party life in Lan Kwai Fong. Wow, beer is so expensive. So I was like, what something else that I can do to make extra cash? And back then there was this organization, like a social media company. They invited me to be their host, and they said every time I host on their platform, like a live session like this, or like host their show where I go out and interview people, do some episodes for them, they would pay me money. So I was like, wow. Okay, pretty interesting. Being on social media and making videos and put them online can actually generate revenue. So nice little pocket money, and that's how I got into social media and realized the power of making video. And then a few years later, I made it into my full-time job.
That's amazing. What was there a tipping point when you were like, okay, I don't need to do anything else. This is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be. You know, what was the moment when you realized this is a full-time job?
So after I graduate, I got a job offer. So I study urban planning. So I was supposed to be an urban planner. And I got a job offer. It's a very, very decent job offer. Like any graduate, I feel like I'm bragging right now.
No, you're not. It's all good. I love the
but
story.
like most of my my classmates, they were like dying for that job. It was like the best job ever. But I remember as a fresh graduate, that was 40,000 Hong Kong dollars. So it's crazy work hour. But it was a very nice job. But then, and I said, if I decided to make content, maybe I'll only get 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 Hong Kong dollars. So that was like the tipping point. But I was like, if I really take that job, then maybe I don't have time to make content. But if I don't take that job, I'll have time to make content, but my content might not work. Then I'll literally starve and I have to keep teaching English to kids, maths, to sustain, to basically make a living. But I think that was just one day I was realized, life is too short. I'm just gonna give it a go and see if it works. And it didn't work for 4 months. So after I graduated for 4 months, I see all my classmates, they are like, wow, okay, you know, having a decent job. And I'm like, literally no income. I remember I had to tutor. I would take part-time job and work as a host in a hotel. I was even like, how do you say? I was a waiter.
Yeah.
For the first 4 months. So, but then it worked. Luckily, it worked. I found the magic. I found the secret, and it worked. So, and now it paid off. So I took a gamble, and the gamble paid off.
Well, you hear so many stories of famous people that started as waiters as well. So
Maybe
it's like the Hollywood story, right? Brad Pitt, I think. Oh, there you go, perfect. Torres Pitt and Brad Pitt both started doing the same thing. Okay, so tell me about like your average day. Like, what's the day like of a KOL, of an influencer?
I think an average day, I think actually being a content creator, the amount of time you put into creating content is actually so short. Like for me, filming a video, it's like 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours, because I already have a specific topic in my mind. And for me, editing a video literally takes like 2 hours. My latest, I think, quite well-viewed video, I went to Sri Lanka when they went bankrupt.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then I think I edited that video in 1 hour. So for me, that thing took like 4 hours to do. But so, and you have 24 hours a day, and that took 4 hours, so you have another 20 hours. It's, I think, very intense mental exercise.
It sounds, it's interesting you bring this up. Obviously Payment Asia is a payments company, and you press a button, right? And I talked earlier on about how everything happens nowadays. We live so much of our life online. We do so many things online, and I'm getting back to your update there. But you press pay, and it gets paid, right? But in the background, there's a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of processing, and all this. And it sounds similar, when you describe that, the planning. Of where you're going to go, why you're going to go there, how to do it. I'm sure there's so much involved in that in your day.
Yeah, I think it's like YouTube. Like if you press a release button, it takes like 2 seconds. Editing 4 hours. But yeah, but the thing that takes up most of my time is to plan content in my head. Like, oh, if I'm going to Sri Lanka today, what am I gonna film? What is my opening line to the viewer to capture their attention? Oh, when I'm filming this shot, I usually already have the background music in my head. My mind works like this. Is so crazy. Sometimes I just walk around and some background music come up. Like, I already think about all these stuff. So my most of the time I just sit here and I think, and then now I help my other content creators. I help them think. So I'm thinking for a lot of people.
I've watched a lot of your videos, and I feel like you've got a good mix of some serious stuff and some really funny stuff as well. But what's been the most tricky thing? Like, what's been the toughest moment? Has it been a place you were at, or something not working? Right? We all hate that, right? If something breaks down halfway through a planned thing.
I think the most difficult thing is, or the most frustrating thing is sometimes it takes 4 hours, but sometimes it takes 5 hours, 6 hours, takes days of thinking. But then the product you made, for me, like content creating, the videos are the product, and the product didn't sell. It's like no one liked it. Well, I thought it was the most amazing thing I've ever made.
Right, yeah.
But then no one liked it.
Actually, that's another question. Have you had any surprises where, so for example, you go to somewhere like Sri Lanka or Buenos Aires or something like this, and you think, wow, I'm going to get 1 million hits on this, and you get 20. And then you put something up, in Kwun, and you get 1 million. Like, what's been a surprise that you've had, something like that?
Something so surprising. I think it's as content creators, we always like to overthink. We think that the more effort we put in, I'm going to put a drone shot, I'm going to vlog about this, and I'm going to have another camera set up there, and I'm going to spend like 5 hours doing the music research and everything. I feel like the more I think about that, the less viewed the video gets.
Right.
It's weird, right?
I think that's an echo for life. I think, I've got a couple of kids, and I always tell them, just go with your gut.
Yeah.
Go with the flow. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
The ones that it's like Torres and I were talking a little bit earlier on about our mutual love of football. And I'm like, the best players are the ones that just go for it. Take the shot, right? If you think about it, you're going to miss. So I think it's part of human nature. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, obviously, part of your business is your store, your shop. You have an e-commerce shop, right? Yeah. Yeah. So how does that work? Like, how do you work it out, and how do you intertwine your social media presence with your actual sales of products and merch?
So I always like to wear sunglasses in my videos because I don't think my eyes are very pretty. No, honestly, that's how I first started. I'm going to cover my eyes, and because if you guys vlog, then you have a camera, and then you always have a viewfinder on the side, like the monitor you look at. And when you vlog, you like to look at the monitor, so your viewer, when they're watching, they think that you're not looking at them because you look on the side. And I was like, oh, damn, how to fix this problem? Oh, I'm just gonna cover my eyes. So I start like wearing sunglasses in my videos. And the viewers like them, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell them. I'm gonna design my own ones, and then I'm gonna sell them. And the viewers love them. So yeah, that was great. So I find things that I do in my videos and something that I wear, and I think it's nice. I think it's quite difficult for my viewers to sometimes, especially during COVID time, to see or to go to places that I travel to. But maybe they can, by buying this, they get to experience a little bit of that.
Love it. Well, it's with anybody that people follow. Some of it is the branding, the style, and the lifestyle. So I love that you bring it back. And you see, I'm seeing a lot more of that with sports stars bringing out their own fragrances or their own, as you say, eyeglasses or whatever it may be. So you take a piece of them as well, right? And you represent their brand, and it can make you feel included. So that's a great thing. And obviously, on the back end of that, you need to get paid. There's a whole lot of structure in the background. I mentioned payment processing. One of the things that we do here at Payment Asia is try to ensure that we've got the best-in-class security for people like yourselves and e-commerce businesses to have secure payment and a seamless experience, right? So, I guess that payment structure is an extension of your store, right? Because they don't blame like us necessarily, right? They'll be like, oh, well, Torres, they charged me twice, or I didn't get through. So, our job to work with businesses, small businesses, and create a safe, secure environment like that is intertwined through the partnership that we have as customer and supplier. All right, good stuff. So, we're in a great space here. I know this is the first time you've been up here. This area that we're in is part of the Payment Asia office. It's actually called our eFactor Lab. And this place has been designed and created in order to help small businesses create content, right? And give them access to best-in-class digital marketing and resources to enable them. So, how would you use that? If you were, back in Hong Kong and, you're going to give advice to somebody starting a small business, they wanted to get out onto Instagram or YouTube and whatnot, how would you use a facility like this, and what would you do to get started in this digital journey?
Wait, so people can actually, they can come here and then they can make content?
So this whole space here is designed and created in order to allow people to have a facility that they don't necessarily have at home.
Ah, so you have all these like, those ring and then have the light and then you can do your live and stuff like that?
Yeah, we've got advisors, we've got professionals, we've got a green screen.
Oh, nice.
So, it's one of the first in Hong Kong, and something we're super proud about.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so this didn't exist when you were starting up though, right? So
I know, I wish it exists. I didn't have to, go different places to do it. Renting a studio is very expensive in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And sometimes they are not necessarily so good, and it's kind of worn out and not so new.
Yeah.
Nice to have a modern place, eh?
No, it's good. What's good to the other thing is having the advice, right? Having professionals around to help you, right, with the lighting and whatnot. A lot of small businesses really waste a lot of energy and then have regrets,
That takes care of most of the most difficult thing about content creating, which is like all these logistics, like the light, how to press this button. Some people, they just want to talk. They're naturally just a content creator, but not actually creating the content. They are very good host, or they have some very good talent. They know like music, or maybe they know like gym or fitness, but they don't have the physical hardware.
Yeah.
So that sometimes hinder or prevent these people from shining. And
right. And not knowing what to spend on, right? I've been around small businesses for a long time, and managing the P&L is something that people just don't have an education in a lot of the time, and they're worried about spending money on marketing and spending money on good cameras and a more expensive phone even, like if you've got somebody that's starting a small business and that they want to, they've got their iPhone 9, but they really need an iPhone 14, just understanding that's something you're investing back into the business is important.
Nice.
Good
Brilliant.
stuff. Okay, so look, we've got a wonderful audience here. Part of this is to be inclusive and collaborative. Does anybody in the audience have any questions right now on everything we've talked about so far for myself or for Torres? Any questions? No questions so far. Okay, well, I've been sent in a couple of questions. How about I ask you one that's been sent in? So one question that came in online was, how do you maximize the followers and turn them into your superpower?
Oh, wow. How do I maximize my following and then turn them into my... Wow, it's the most amazing thing. I think the most rewarding thing about being a content creator is actually you have a very specific group of people and they have the exact same interests as you.
Yeah.
So my video is traveling and exploring different culture, and 700,000 subscribers on YouTube, they also happen to have the same interests. Otherwise, they wouldn't subscribe to me.
Yeah.
So that is amazing. That is so powerful, because then you can bring out something. You're talking about profit and business-wise. Then you can bring out something that you guys already have a common interest in. So for me, it could be like something maybe related to language, related to culture, related to traveling, and you have a very specific target group already. When you have a business, all these advertisers, they spend a lot of money on finding the right target group. But right now, you already have the target group. People, when they do Facebook ad, they're trying to like, you can target like, oh, I want to target to people who like Apple, or they like airline, and they don't like basketball. But for us, we don't have to do it. We're very specific. 700,000 people just interested in that player, in that thing. And I add one more thing. And then sometimes people think when they do content, they think, oh, I have a very small following. But it doesn't matter. Some people, they do finance. I know one friend, he does finance. He talks about very complicated option trading, and he only has 10,000 followers. But all these 10,000 followers, they're all very interested in option trading that most people know nothing about. Then when he wants to do a course, or when he wants to sell a product, automatically 10,000 people interested in option trading who watch his videos all the time. So that is powerful. And so I think as a content creator, sometimes you don't have to think about how many followers you have or how big of a group you have. You just need to find like-minded people. And YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, different all these social media platforms, by making content, putting content out there, it's a very strong energy to group these people who have similar interests to you.
It's amazing, and it opens you up to the whole world.
Exactly.
Right? You're not limited to, like you say, in the past, people are out there and they have to find their niche. They have to find that certain sector, and you can be restricted by that, right? I'm sure you, to the point of the question I asked earlier on about surprises, I bet you've had people in socio groups that you wouldn't expect to follow you that are following you. Hey, tell me about, so as I mentioned earlier on, right, with the payment piece, you press a button. Everybody sees you, right? You're the face of your brand, but who's behind you? Like, do you have a team, or is it like down to you to do a lot of the technical stuff as well?
I have Georgia, who's my wife-to-be.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. She helps me. She basically helps me with all my mental stress. It's like sometimes, you make videos and you get angry, you get frustrated. or like, I don't want to do this. And she's like, oh, calm down. Oh, have some tea, have a drink, something like that. That's very important. I think whatever business you do, or whatever things you do in life, you need to have a mental, maybe for you, maybe your kids, your other half.
Yeah, totally. Look, having people around you that love you, that understand you, that they're, like you said earlier on, or you might be creating content for 4 hours. We've got 20 more hours in the day. Right, you need support, and support is the most important thing. We've just been through a very tricky time in the world, right? With COVID, I'm sure that impact. I'd love to understand actually how that impacted your everyday business over the last few years. But if you don't have people around you to support you, whether they're your followers, whether they're your family, your friends, your work colleagues, or technology, right? That's there to help you, then you're alone, and that's not a safe place to be, right? One of the most important things that came out of the last couple of years for me was understanding psychological safety, right? And placing importance on that. I'm sure for you, that was a big thing, right? You know, traveling around the world.
Actually, I'm psychologically unstable most of the time. I mean, if you move hotel every 3 days, you'll go crazy. Like people look at me and it's like, wow, this is the best job ever. But if you move hotel like 1 week and then you move 4 times, it's not psychologically stable.
Yeah.
So I'm quite stable. I'm stable now. Don't worry. I'm not gonna try to attack you.
No,
But-
you seem very good.
But yeah, so I have the mental support. For me, mental support is important, and then I have the technical support. So I have graphic designer. For example, if I want to launch certain products, I have graphic designers to help me. I don't necessarily need a video editor. I edit all my videos. I film everything all by myself. But at the same time, these days I have a team of other content creators that I'm managing, and I realize that whatever I can do, or I can spend not as much time doing, it might be a little bit difficult for other people.
Okay.
So I'm also like recruiting designer, editor, camera people to help these content creators that I'm nurturing.
That's amazing. Okay, so that I mentioned football earlier on, and one of the things you see a lot of famous footballers, and actually when I talk to Torres, it reminds me of one of my favorite footballers, a guy called Fernando Torres. And a lot of these guys move from players to coaches. So are you seeing yourself moving into that kind of coaching capacity or being a mentor? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Do you know Andy Lau?
Oh, Andy Lau, yeah.
Andy Lau, the most handsome man.
Yeah.
And, he started acting since he was 20. Like I have mad respect for that guy because now he's like 60 and he's still doing the same thing. That's crazy to be so passionate about one thing for so long and he doesn't get bored of it. That's amazing. But he acts at the same time. He also has his movie companies and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think there's only so little thing one person can do. My interest is to explore the world, but one person's power is so little. So now I'm recruiting people who have the same interests as me. The people I recruit, I'm not sure if you guys follow. There's one family in the UK. They are very multicultural. There's a Hong Kong girl living in the UK. So she explores similar things compared to me, and I absolutely love that. And I want that influence to grow. I want to something I can't do. I can't have a family in the UK, but someone else is doing it for me. But this is also my interest to see the cultural difference. Another guy that I recently recruited, he's in Peru right now. He's a Taiwanese guy, speaks perfect Spanish, and he's exploring life in Latin America. So I really like to be able to see something happen without me actually physically do it, because sometimes you get tired, but you want that to happen, but you get so tired. I can't go to Peru tomorrow. So that's what drives me to do it.
That's amazing. Well, it's like anything, I think. Sometimes if you do the same thing again and again, like anybody in any life, right, you'll get to a point where you wane on the passion. So if you're able to adopt other people or mentor other people, it's a beautiful thing. We see people, I know people that in later life have got to the point where they're not having their own kids, but they've adopted other kids, and it's beautiful, to give and pay things forward, right? You've had experiences other people in the world can only imagine. So why not share that, right? Share that stuff, and especially now, right, where, like you say, the world's been through a traumatic time, and if you can share good insights and great stories, you never know, you could spark something in people that change their life forever. Okay, so what's been your most popular post? What's been
My most popular poster?
Yeah.
My most popular post, let's say YouTube.
Yes, sir.
My most popular post. Oh, recently I think I went. I came back to Hong Kong this time and I saw my family, and the first thing they said is, "I can't believe you went to the most dangerous McDonald's in South Africa." You crazy? Like my parents were so upset, but that was one of my most viewed posts this year. I think it got like 3 million views on YouTube. So I went to my wife-to-be lives in South Africa.
Okay.
And there's this McDonald's next to her house. And I was like, oh, why don't you guys go there? Like, because I love McDonald's. So, and there's like, nah, this is the most dangerous McDonald's in South Africa. I was like, are you literally living next to the most dangerous McDonald's in South Africa? And I was like, oh, I'm going there. I'm going there, and I'm filming it. Oh my God, that day I was like shaking. South Africa is scary.
Yeah.
You went there for the
I
World Cup, right?
Well, we've got the World Cup coming up now. I went to a World Cup. I'm showing my age here, but I went to a World Cup in 2010 in South Africa.
You've got to be careful when you're there.
Yeah.
It's a wild place there. It's the most beautiful country ever, but it's a wild place. So I did that. I've never had a burger in my hand. It's like, man, the burger tastes the same. It tastes the same as Hong Kong, even though it's the most dangerous McDonald's.
I'm really wondering what makes the most dangerous McDonald's, right? I'm thinking, is it like, the nuggets are just too spicy or whatever? I don't know. I'm joking. Okay, so back onto the theme, right, of how we maximize digital here. Like, it's just some tips, right? So is anybody in the audience starting their own business or focusing on, or are you just all fans of Torres? Anybody out there doing their own business or trying to create content? You are. Okay. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask Torres? Okay. Here's somebody with a microphone. Oh, okay, you're next.
Hello. So when you just start out, you don't have many followers. How do you be so disciplined to keep filming your videos? Because sometimes you're so tired and you don't get maybe a lot of feedbacks, and then you don't have much views, and then how do you be so disciplined in the beginning until you become successful?
Oh, good question. Are you going through that right now? Is this your problem?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So don't mind me if I'm being too direct. Yeah. Don't hit me after.
It's okay.
If you keep trying, and then no views, there's something wrong. Maybe I have to look at it. I don't know what is wrong, but there is something wrong that it doesn't have a positive feedback or the view is not growing. If you have 100 views, but all of a sudden today you post and have 500 views, it's 5 times better. It means you're doing something right. And it's about how you can maximize or be able to identify what have you done right in there, and then keep repeating the thing that you think you have done differently in the process. But a lot of people, they do the same thing because they think, oh, this is what I like, and then they keep doing it. It's 100 views, 100 views, 100 views. And you need to be able to observe the change. Even sometimes the change is so small, from 100 views to 200 views, but that tells you something. Is that because the time you posted, like, pay attention. Is that because the time you posted? Is that because the color you used this time? Is that red? Oh, red works. Okay, maybe I have a red background now. You're going to pay attention where you have to be sensitive to numbers, or you're sensitive to change. Oh, there's something changed. I need to be able to identify it before I make the next piece of content. You have to You have to take it slow and identify the change. It's as I said, I spent 4 hours on average making a video and filming a video. 20 hours. I'm thinking. I'm identifying this change, and people sometimes they overlook this change. And you have to be able to spot it yourself. Like, no one else can tell you. No one else is creating that piece of content. So no one else is in your head. They can tell you what to do. They can't. 90% of the people are just at the receiving end. They see something funny on social media. Ha ha ha. They like it, but they're not going to tell you why they like it. Maybe it's because it's funny. But then they can't tell you how to do it. They're at the receiving end, and they are on a very superficial level. You need to think deep by observing change. So I think that is important.
So do you secretly do an A/B test to test out different campaigns, ideas, or even titles?
Oh, I used to do it. I used to do an A/B test. So I would have 2 thumbnails. For me, the YouTube world, the most difficult thing is the thumbnail and the title. I used to do it. I create 3 thumbnails and I make my friends choose. I have a WhatsApp group. If you're more like advanced, then you can have all these Telegram groups to do it. But for me, I just need to get a sense of what people like. I have like 5 friends that I think is a good representation of Hong Kong people or people around the world. Then I make them choose, and then they will vote. But now I just know. I think after you do it for a few times, you just know. Like you will just get a sense of what will work and what won't work. And sometimes they will say, this is better. I still send the thumbnail to them, because they're my good friends. I say, I'm going to post this now. They just ignore me now because I never listen to their advice. But after a few times, you know, you get a sense. After you build a following, you know what works. And then, then it just become part of your brain.
Yeah, that support we talked about earlier on is so important. There you go, right? You've lent into your friend group. It's another interesting thing, right? Is just to celebrate those small wins. Like Torres just mentioned, you go from 100 views to 200 views. That's 100%. That's like, if you think of it like that, you're really moving forward, right? So, and suddenly I'm sure you obviously went from that, right? You started with 1 view at some point, right? And you've gone it to 100, then it's 100,000, then it's 1 million. So, stay with that and be really strong. Okay, so questions from the online, I've just been handed something with more questions from the online audience. All right. Bear with me, I have to read these for the first time right now, okay? Okay, question from V1, V2, V2, V3, V5. That's the name of the person.
What a name.
Very interesting name, okay. All right, so this person's saying, I wonder, other than money aspect, like what really gets you what gets you out of bed and keeps you motivated? This is a live stream, by the way. We've got a live chat.
What gets me out of my bed and just, I don't know, just I want to get things done. I'm just naturally, I just naturally, I can't. If I sleep like for 8 hours, then I think, the most successful people in the world, they only sleep for 6 hours. So now I'm 2 hours behind them. So I don't know. It's a very self-driven thing. It's just, but I think you need to give yourself a goal, why you must do this. And then you realize why you do. I think people don't get out of bed, or they're not motivated because they don't know why they're doing it, or they don't have an incentive. Well, maybe if you're not doing this, maybe if you're so rich already, you're a 富二代, and then maybe you're just making videos for fun. You're not making videos for money. Then the things that should motivate you may be the fame, or building a following, or seeing the numbers grow. You need to identify what motivates you, or grow your business. You need to be able to identify one thing.
Yeah, that's important.
If you can't identify anything, then what's the point of doing it? Just don't even start in the first place, I think, right?
Yeah, I'll learn quickly, right?
It needs to have a reason, and the reason needs to be strong, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's important, right? I think anybody in life, if you don't have a purpose, then, if your purpose is not there to motivate you, then you're not going to get out of bed, right?
We're getting so deep now.
There we go. Okay, let's take it back to technical. Somebody's asked. Somebody just asked a really cool question that I wouldn't have thought of here. So we mentioned how this lab has been created to help people. We've got all this cool kit, but that didn't exist, as we mentioned earlier on when you started your business. Did you take any courses in like photography or any of this sort of stuff you just learnt by yourself?
I've never taken a class or course or anything. For the first 2 years of my content creating career, I still didn't know how to use a camera. I just put it on auto. Like sometimes now I look back at the footage, I can't believe I put the ISO at 2000 when it was broad daylight. What was I doing? No, I didn't know anything. It's like Jack Ma said one thing. He said 2 very famous things. One thing he said is, I don't care about money. Second thing he said is, I know nothing about AI. I think it's true. But he has a concept. I think my strength is my creative mind. I don't necessarily know how to. I still don't know it so well. Sometimes I just put it in auto. But I know if I can these things are just my tools. You can edit a video on a phone these days, or you can use iMovie. These are just tools. You need to be able to identify what's the most important thing. The most important thing is the piece of content. So all these cameras and everything, okay, if you really want, you can watch a 30-minute YouTube video and you will know it. So I think identify what the most important thing is, and just focus on that. So that's why I said, like, the more drone and cameras I set up, the worse the video perform. The core is the content.
I love it. I feel like you've answered a little bit of this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So, like, all these people are here to watch, and we've got people online streaming in, and I guess one of the things you'd sign up for this type of thing is to learn, right? So what are your top tips? Like top tips as a content creator, as potentially an influencer for the people looking in, like top tips to what to do. And like I say, I think you just touched on some of it about staying strong to your purpose and never giving up, but also top tips what not to do. You know, how do you alienate people?
What not to do?
Yeah.
At first, I did everything. Like at first, I started my career on Facebook. So that was a big mistake. I think I spent a whole year just posting videos that like no one really cared about on Facebook because I chose the wrong platform. So you need to find the platform. It's like if you work for a company, you need to find a company that you enjoy working for. And in my case, I enjoy working for, like for example, YouTube. So you have to find a platform that you think will help you shine. Facebook doesn't help you shine because every time I post a video there, I'm not saying some bad things about Facebook or anything. I know people in there and we're good friends. But every time I post a content on Facebook, guess what they say? Oh, you should boost this content. Oh my God, I spent all these hours making this content. Now you want me to pay so that my content is viewed by other people? But on YouTube, if I put a nice piece of content out, then YouTube's algorithm, it will be like, okay, this is a good content creator. Come watch, come watch, come watch. So I chose the wrong platform. So you need to understand and identify these key elements. So the simple is choose the platform wisely, but I think more deep is identify what is conducive or what will help you succeed.
It's interesting because what that makes me think about is loyalty, right? You're being loyal to YouTube, then you're getting a loyal following from YouTube, right? So that's super important. All right, we're going to round up in a second. I have one more question. Could be a one-word answer. Where's your favorite location you've been during your journey?
I think here.
One time. I love it.
No, I really enjoy sharing things like this. But travel-wise, I love Argentina. Argentina is great. It's quite dangerous, but well, great place. You know the stick?
Oh.
The stick. Sometimes you cut with the knife and then the fork, right? In Argentina, you can cut open a stick with 2 spoons.
Oh.
Wow, so nice.
Jealous. Well, we were saying I feel like most people in Hong Kong, unfortunately, haven't had the opportunity to travel much, and you're opening the world to us. And hey, you're doing a great service as well by doing stuff bilingual. I love the fact you're out there representing Hong Kong, speaking in English and Cantonese as well. It's great. It's a unique thing.
Thank
So
you.
it's very cool.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, I think we're wrapping up. So this has been hopefully a really helpful, fun, engaging session around the power of digital. We've been so thankful to have you here, Torres. You've been
Thanks for having me.
amazing. It's been really cool to meet you. And yeah, thank you very much for your time. And hopefully any more questions that come in, we'll fire them to you. And maybe you can ask Torres some questions directly on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks.
Hello，我哋後邊咧有啲嘢食啊 ，we have some foods and beverage，so 你哋可以留低，可以傾下偈或者去食下嘢，network 下都可以嘅。咁啊，今日個 event 咧